Welcome back to the Social Work Race podcast. Good morning. Well, it's morning for me. This is my second podcast of Sunday the, 15th? Sunday the 15th of Jan. Listen, it's a privilege to do this show. I thank you all for listening in. What I'm really learning of late is that, and this has actually been over the last, say, 3 months, is that I really want to help social work students and social workers, those who are struggling, to just kind of level out and for students to enter the social work field with their feet on the ground, and for social workers to just find a place to voice up and just relate. This is what the purpose of the platform is. Originally created for students, and that's where my heart lies with all newly qualified, ASY, all of that. Also, just to share my journey, because this is what I do. I like to share narratives. So this platform is about also my personal narrative and the narratives of others. And, I do interviews. I'll be posting up an interview, Q&A interview, and one also on assessments as well. I want people to hear from social workers, very raw and unfiltered, about what it is to be a social worker from various different teams. And not only social workers, but other frontline workers. So that when you come in, you know what's going on, right? That's the point. And I love that about, about social work. And yes, this is the remnants of a cold I've had for, I can't believe how long. The longest cold in history. So you'll get that from time to time. Me clearing my throat. Yeah, and what I wanted to talk about today was your areas of strength and weakness. Yeah. Let me enter in with this. Not everyone is good at everything, right? We know that already. So when you enter social work, you do your studies. You do placement. And placement can often be a shock for us. But recognize this even in your practice. And it's something that I've had to come to terms with as well, because I put a lot of pressure on myself. I want to be good at everything I do. Often I want to be great at everything I do, but I'm not. I think I'm of an age now where I can be honest with myself and say, actually, this is my strength and this is my weakness. And it's about recognizing that not everyone is good at everything. And our views of ourselves are often shaped by the people around us, not just the views that we have of ourselves. But sometimes you could have, a manager that really loves intervention, focuses on intervention. I'm going to sneeze in a second. I won't even edit it out. And then you can find a manager that loves the things that are written. Sorry. And then you've got the systemic approach, and the varied approaches, initiatives that different local authorities take on. Some of them might want you to do a lot of work around motivational interviewing and evidence in that. And so everyone's got their perspectives and approaches and they place their values in that area. And if you're weak in that area, it can affect you. And I'm saying to you to be careful about the narratives that you take on, because you cannot be good at everything. You've got the odd social worker that appears to be. But because of the level of demands of social work, you pay a price at some point. If you're going to be good at everything in social work, then you must be paying a price in your personal life. Do you know what I mean? For those of us who have children or complex issues in our families, can you be everything? Can you be that great? And I want the public to know, and I've spoken about this on a couple of podcasts, and that even great social workers are making mistakes because of their workload. So something has to give. You manage all your workload. For example, if you work in children and families, or you work in a local authority that is maybe underinvested, how do you be everything to all of those people that you're working for, come home and be enough for yourself and be enough for your children and families? How do you do that? Who has that much room? The truth is, social work takes us beyond the normal capacity. And this is why so many social workers are saying self-care is important. Well, how do I self-care with all of these demands? This is it. So how do you, what do we talk about when we're talking about being good at everything? Well, look, let me be honest about myself. I'll tell you about myself. Yes, I'm good at talking. Yeah, I can talk. I'm not the best though. I'm by far not the best, but I'm good. I'm good at breaking down barriers. Yeah, I'm good at that. I might not be the best. I don't know if I'm the best. And when I say the best, I don't mean the best in the world. I mean like really high level good, right? I'm good at, what else am I good at? I'm good at helping people feel at ease, making processes clear. I'm good at breaking down language and language barriers. I'm good at building relationships so that even when I have to do something with a family that they might not like or take them for a process I do not like, I'm still able to work with them on a very positive level. It's funny because I remember working with someone that we had to place their child on we wanted to place their child on a child protection plan. And it didn't go through, but I thought it should have. And the issue there was that at least, the service user wasn't happy at my choice. That was one particular service user that had issue with me. But I put in a ton of effort to make sure that they felt at ease. And that it was for the best, and that not to look down on social services, but actually we're here to help, right? And it didn't go through, and it was stepped down. And a few weeks later, the social workers called me up. The service users called me up and has been really nice on the phone. They weren't sure. I'm not their social worker, by the way. I am not their social worker. But they called me and asked me for advice, So I put a lot of work into building relationships because it makes work easier. Do you know what I mean? I never want to go into a home or work with a family that doesn't want me there. You never want that as a social worker. Nobody wants that unless you're a psychopath, do you know what I mean? Or sociopath. But saying that, I remember when I first started out, even in working in a youth justice or youth offending team, something that was always pointed out, even in my placement, I remember, professional language. There's a way to talk to clients, service users. There's a way to talk to other professionals when you're in professionals meetings. You need to talk a certain way. You need to use a certain type of language. It's not, and this is an interesting debate that I won't go into too much, but I think it might actually warrant another episode, professional language. What does that mean? Does that mean the Queen's English? No, it doesn't. Another topic, we'll talk about it soon. But what it means is that there's a way to write that doesn't make things seem like it's coming from your heart or your mind, but rather from using professional abilities to analyze and language that doesn't appropriate bias. That was a challenge for me. And not writing like I'm writing a letter to my girlfriend. Do you know what I mean? So there's a different way of writing and speaking that I struggled with at first. And I think it's going to always be my area of development. Saying that, I have developed. It's grown. I'm improving. You absolutely will. You can hear by the way I talk that, there's a mixture of layman's vernacular and professional language. That's actually how I talk for the most part when I'm at work and when I'm working with service users. And I don't try to use my professional language to gain kudos or recognition anymore. I'm actually more myself. And I want people to respect me for who I am and not because I'm putting on a great show. Interesting discussion again. Might be another podcast, right? But that's my area of development. And what does that mean? The way that I speak is the way that I write. And an area of development for me, and it will always be, and I'm focusing on that, is how I write assessments. It is definitely an area of development, and it always has been. And I remember speaking to another not colleague, but a fellow social worker. And she said to me, "My Curtis, my writing is so bad." Yet she's been in the job for quite a few years. But I know she's really good at building relationships. Do you know what I mean? So you have to understand that you are not perfect. You do not come with all the pieces to the puzzle. When you qualify, it begins. Yes, you've done placement, but when you're on your own and you have to produce your own work and chair meetings, organize those meetings and chair them, you will find that there's areas of development. Some of us struggle to make relationships. We will struggle to adjust our appearance because we feel safe in formal clothes. Yeah, we feel safe behind the badge. I'm wearing my badge to the door, where there might be a barrier. So there's areas of development. Some of us struggle with, because levels of trauma from the past, we struggle with imposing male figures. Some of us struggle with people who don't speak English properly. I've seen that with my own eyes. Someone really, a fellow social worker, just get really frustrated with someone because they didn't speak English. Do you know what I mean? We struggle with patience. And that's an area of development, because that's not just about me struggling with people who don't speak English. That's me struggling in my own life, with being patient with people who aren't on my level. So we all have that. And my advice to you, strong advice, okay? Take this on, please, is to work on those areas. Like, let that be your focus for your work. For some of us, we're great writers. Now go and work on your ability to build relationships. Do that. You have to be careful about the narratives that your managers or cohort will place on you. There may be a general cultural focus on a particular type of social working, but you have to also know yourself and value yourself first. I hope you get this. Value yourself first. Know your value first. Yes, I'm good at writing, but that doesn't make me a great social worker. Yes, I'm good at building relationships, but does that make me a great social worker? Then this means that we have to reflect heavily on what we're about. Critically reflect. So that's all I have on this topic. I hope it helps. Please, if you're a student and you're looking for one-to-one support, click the link in my bio or visit my Patreon page, The Social Work Race, and subscribe. It's always helpful. And I'm announcing it now. We are preparing for an event for social workers, especially students, to get together for Q&A, resources and support. That's going to happen. It's going to be hopefully in the Midlands very soon. I'll keep you posted. Stay tuned to the channel and you'll know more about that. But what we will be doing is regularly coming together as professionals to learn and network. Hope this helps. Take care of yourselves.